An historic opening weekend for the Sun Belt just 7 days ago as the conference won 3 road games against the Big 12. And for now, 2 teams are ranked inside the top 25 for the first time in league history. What about an encore? What can the Sun Belt do now? We're about to find out. And welcome to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by Dr. Pepper. On a beautiful evening down on the Bayou, ULM, the Warhawks, getting set to tangle with Texas State. About 7,000 fans expected today, all properly socially distanced. And of course, we are as well in the booth with Kelly Stopper, Roy Philpott. Great to have you with us. And a chance for 2 teams tonight, Kelly, to press the reset button as conference play is finally here.
I think conference play takes on a new meaning, really, because these players are really looking for something that's familiar. A conference opponent that is familiar is exactly what both of these teams need.
Well, the Warhawks led by a pair of Joshes, and Kelly, they just may be the 2 best players at the respective positions in the Sun Belt.
Yeah, they're the difference makers, I think, in this game. Josh Johnson is a workhorse. He's physical. He's also a very late game closer, very good at that. And then Josh Peterson is a hybrid tight end. They do a lot of different things with him. 9 touchdowns, led tight ends in all the nation a year ago. These guys need to factor prominently into the game plan.
Well, the Warhawks have won their last 4 in a row against Texas State. The Bobcats tonight will be led by their quarterback, Tyler Vitt, who starts for the 2nd straight week.
And Tyler is seasoned, he's respected, he's tough, and he can be trusted with the game plan here tonight.
Vitt in the starting lineup means no Brady McBride for the 2nd straight week. He will be held out of this contest.
And Roy, it also means a different game plan for head coach Jake Spavital that now is calling the plays once again, because Tyler Vitt is more by the book. Brady McBride likes to color outside the lines a lot. You won't see that out of Tyler Vitt tonight.
Beautiful weather this evening, 79 degrees. Are you kidding me? Here in mid-September in Louisiana. Texas State received the football first. Daniel Sparks set to kick things away for ULM. Two teams expected to put up some fireworks tonight. We're just about set, ready to go. Warhawks in maroon and gold uniforms, Texas State. The away whites. And Shareed looking for the convoy. It does not arrive. He's stacked up, driven backwards, short of the 15. And Tyler Vitt and the Texas State offense will take over right there.
And Tyler Vitt has paid his dues. He's a seasoned guy and he's tough. And like I said before, he's well respected in the locker room, which makes a huge difference. But he's also a guy that's cerebral. He approaches the position that way, and he will play things by the book here this evening.
Heartbreak Hotel for Texas State in their first 2 games. A pair of 1-possession losses. Inside give to Brock Sturgis. And a quality gain on first down. Bring up 2nd and 3. Sturgis, the transfer from Arizona State, Kelly. He's got a little pop. Bobcats go back to work quickly. Sturgis straight ahead. Stop short. It'll be 3rd and 1.
And Roy, we know that head coach Jake Spavital in his 2nd year as head coach here is taking over the play calling duties with an emphasis on the run. Unlike a year ago, set the tone with the run game and try to get in 3rd and manageable positions just like you see right now.
Lanham in motion, power formation, 3rd straight give to Sturgis. Needed 1, he'll gain 1.5 yards, and the drive continues for the Bobcats.
And so what you're going to see out of the Bobcats offensively is a zone run scheme, mix in some gap, power type of blocking up front, and then the RPO. And the RPO is a run-pass option, and Tyler Vitt running that looks a whole lot different than Brady McBride. Tyler Vitt will do it by the book. If it's meant to give the ball to the running back, Vitt will do just that.
Play action for Vitt. Buys a couple of moments and has his receiver up to the 34.
And that's a good example of what Vitt brings to the table. You can see him literally go through his progression and ends up throwing the ball outside to his third look. That's exactly the way that play is supposed to unfold.
TJ Graham, the grab. Sturgis now after the first down. Bottled up, sit backwards.
Jake Spavital told us that the key is really to stay on course. Don't get behind, and this is the first negative play today. And so now Tyler Vitt has to organize how to get this drive going from behind the sticks.
Travion Webster with the tackle and a loss of a yard. Vitt again spots Graham ahead at the 44. So a good connection between TJ Graham, the junior from Mansfield, Texas, and Tyler Vitt.
And Vitt isn't a real mobile guy. When he does run the ball, it's more downhill, a physical runner. But it's the subtle pocket presence that he's really good at. A little bit slide to the left that time just to get the throw off.
After a gain of 9, third down and 2. Vitt pulls it out of the zone read. I don't think he got there. It all comes down to the spot. Our veteran Sunbelt officiating crew think otherwise. Wayne Winkler indicating that's a first down.
And that's where you see the physical nature, because I think you're right. Tyler Vitt did not have it on the initial contact with Kevin Pointer up front, but it's the second effort, and he's a physical downhill type of runner when he does keep it.
A couple of first downs for Texas State coming into this contest at 0-2, Kelly. Lost against SMU by a touchdown, and again a week ago to UTSA. And a couple of in-state rivals. That pass will be deemed incomplete.
I believe that was Marcel Barbie outside, who's a very good vertical target, and the ball was deflected, and Barbie thinks he got to it before he got to the ground. He's come up with some amazing catches, and this would be chief among them if indeed he did catch it.
Corey Strouder in coverage, one of the top cornerbacks in the country. 21 for the maroon and gold. Second team All-American last year. He was all over Barbie deep down the field.
And we're going to have a review of that catch. And remember, it's all about firm control with the hand or arm, whether it's complete or not. And then you have to do something that's common to the game. In this case, it's simply possessing it to the ground. And Barbie, quite frankly, was already on the ground. What do you think, Roy? Does he come down with this thing?
It's off the deflection. Strouder. Both hands underneath. That's a catch where I come from.
I think that's a catch.
Marcel Barbie, his 5th grab of the year, and that's going to put Texas State in prime position on its opening possession. Had both arms underneath, came down with possession. Ball did not shift. Strouder, I don't think, can believe it. He did not have a lot of balls completed on him last year for the Warhawks.
And this group of wide receivers for Texas State have had some amazing catches. We talked about the one-hander with Jeremiah Haydell, but this might be at the top of the list if indeed this is ruled a catch.
John Allman, our replay official tonight. I don't think it's going to take too long to overturn the call.
And I think the way the teams are moving on the field, I think this is going to be overruled and called a complete catch. And what a catch it was. And Marcel Barbie is really important in the game plan because he's a lot of times the X-receiver that's split out by himself and isolated, and then they formation away and force the defense to make a difficult decision. Do we leave Barbie one-on-one with somebody? It was Strouder in that last play. Or do we overload to the short side of the field and leave ourselves vulnerable to the wide side?
Keep an eye on that matchup as we go through tonight. Barbie with that 6'2 frame. Love him as a red zone target. Matched up with Strouder man-to-man.
And we're going to see that a lot tonight. Corey Strouder is a really, really good shutdown corner type guy. Maybe the best cover corner in this Sun Belt Conference.
Calvin Hill on the field for the first time. Joins Vitt in the backfield for Texas State. Opening possession of the game. in the Sun Belt opener for both programs. Option look, the quick pitch to Hill. He's got speed, to the edge he goes. It'll be first down and goal for Texas State. So a gain of 13 on first down. The Bobcats, impressive.
And the speed option, which simply means the quarterback just attacks the end man on the line of scrimmage, quick pitch, trying to get a couple guys out in front of Calvin Hill, but that's where they use Calvin Hill out on the edges, where Brock Sturgis is more between the tackle box type of guy.
Hill, straight ahead. Touchdown, Texas State! And the Bobcats on their opening possession of the night take it down the field with ease.
Wow, how about that? Jake Spavital talked about the fact that he wanted to really call plays trending toward being more balanced, and you really saw it on that drive, capped off with Calvin Hill coming in, more of the shifty speed back, and cashes it in. That's an impressive opening drive to start conference play for Texas State.
Extra point attempt will come off the right foot of Seth Keller. Of course, the Bobcats had issues a week ago. A double overtime loss to UTSA, a missed field goal, a missed extra point, which could have won it. A different story so far tonight. 7-0 Texas State. Calvin Hill, second touchdown of the season for the Bobcats.
ESPN College Football is presented by Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Back in Monroe, Louisiana, on campus here at ULM. A fast start for the road team. Calvin Hill scored from 4 yards out moments ago. 7-0 Texas State over the Warhawks. Just underway in our first quarter. An interesting start to the season, really for all of us, but especially here in Louisiana. ULM starting preseason camp back on August 7th and having to deal with all sorts of issues. Practice was paused, Kelly, for 2 weeks after non-positive COVID tests. Hurricane Laura moves through the area. First hurricane to reach northeast Louisiana. Power was out here for about 4 days. Practice resumes. And then a change on the coaching staff as DC Mike Collins resigns just earlier this month, which is hard to fathom. And then, by the way, you got to go to West Point to play Army, and it's triple option attack for your season opener.
Yeah, and a lot of people will say that getting the option team the first game of the year is a plus, but not under those conditions you just saw on the screen. There were so many things that this team had to overcome, and they simply weren't ready to play in that game.
Isaiah Phillips back deep to receive the kick, and from the 1 yard line, nifty move. Sent down hard short of the 20. Warhawks will take over for their first possession. And our first look at Colby Suits. Sophomore from the Metroplex. See the numbers from last week. I thought he played fairly well for his first road start at Army. Completion percentage was there.
Yeah, and really his first playing time since high school. He backed up Caleb Evans, and Caleb Evans was a 4-year starter, ultra durable, and simply didn't miss anything. He didn't miss practice reps, let alone game time, and so Kobe Sweets, I thought, come in and did very, very well.
Warhawks will be backed up 5 yards here.
Not exactly the way you want to start this game, and head coach Matt Viator, who is also the play caller, talked about trying to find some sense of rhythm. Well, when you haven't had a lot of practice time and you go to play the option at Army, rhythm is not going to be your best friend offensively because you get limited touches. They literally had 44 plays against Army. No time to get rhythm.
With our officiating crew's microphone is Josh Johnson tackled from behind at the 15. Gain of 2 yards on first down after the penalty.
And the game plan is going to be Josh Johnson now and in the middle and at the end, hopefully. And he's a workhorse guy, and I've been around running backs before that the more they touch it, the more they feel the holes well, and the more productive they are. Josh Johnson is that type of running back.
Outstanding speed. Over 6 yards per touch. His ULM career. Play action. And the near side grab. Carter has it. Flung out of bounds crossing the 20. It'll bring up third down. And about 5.
So that was a run-pass option. So the run-pass option, you isolate one conflicted defender, and then you can pull it if the defense tells you to based on that defender. The run-pass option is going to be prominently displayed because Caleb Evans is no longer here at quarterback. He was more of a zone read guy, and you could read that defender. Now you have to read him in terms of a run or a pass out of the quarterback.
Officially third down and 4. Big play for the Warhawks. Their 2020 home opener. Suits with time, has the first down. Pass is caught by Jaquan Bloomfield. And the far side scamper ahead to the 43-yard line. The drive stays alive after a gain of 14 yards.
A nice job by Suits seeing it out wide. It's man-to-man on the back end, and there was a receiver coming on the inside and just cleared out, made a void for Bloomfield on the outside, and well read by the quarterback, Suits.
Play action on first down. Suits wants it all. And after buying some time wisely, fires that pass out of bounds. It'll bring up second down.
And that was a great decision. There was a double move in the slot by Bloomfield, and it was covered. And it was a shot play, and a lot of times quarterbacks will get tunnel vision when they have a shot type of play called. And when the defense wins, the quarterback has to know when to give up on the play, and Suits did right there.
Suits from Forney, Texas. Drew interest from Texas and Texas Tech in the recruiting process. ULM was his lone FBS offer. Right on cue. Suits plows ahead for a first down. So on 2nd and 10, a gain of 16 into plus territory.
And well designed. It was motioned by Josh Johnson. Takes a linebacker out of the box with him, and then it's parting the Red Sea with a big quarterback that's going to simply find the straightest line between point A and point B and run with the football.
Childress and Spears got there first for the Texas State defense. Josh Johnson right side off tackle. And a gain of 5 yards on first down. When you think about ULM a week ago, the loss at West Point, Kelly, they only ran 44 offensive plays, so really Matt Viator calling the plays did not get a great look at what to expect for the rest of the season. Army just played keep away.
Yeah, and you marry that to their bizarre camp type of atmosphere between a COVID breakout and Hurricane Laura and one scrimmage, limited reps. And so he knew, Matt Viator knew that they weren't ready to play, but they just needed to play. Johnson.
And his bags packed that time for a loss of a couple. Hal Vincent.
Good penetration initially, not a lot of movement on the line of scrimmage, and then you end up with a negative play, and the game kind of kicks in for the first time as a quarterback when you get off schedule, when you get behind the sticks, as ULM is right here. It'll be decision-making time for Colby Suits.
Third down and 8, almost halfway through our first quarter. Bobcats with a touchdown advantage. Isaiah Phillips checks in the backfield for ULM across the middle and poked away at the last minute to Jordan Mass, the sophomore nickelback. Right over the back, but kept that play clean, Kelly.
Yeah, and that wasn't a good read by the quarterback, Suits. They had 88, Lamb going outside, and he was dropped in coverage. And typically that's a route you read from the outside in. And if Suits was doing that, the outside receiver, Lamb, was completely uncovered and probably turns it up for a first down.
So Mask up to the challenge, and on fourth down, it appears the Warhawks are going to go for it. No man's land at the 40-yard line, but still very early. Josh Peterson in motion, and he took a step forward too soon. They're going to give ULM a timeout. Break for the Warhawks. Timeout on the field as we step aside here in Monroe, Louisiana. Louisiana. Matt Viator in his 5th season with the Warhawks, taking over the play calling duties this season after the departure Matt Cubitt to Southern Mississippi. Well, ULM almost had one of the great upsets in college football history perhaps a year ago on the road in Tallahassee against Florida State. Couldn't quite pull it off, and out of the timeout, it looks as if ULM's going to punt this one away. And Kelly, I would agree with this decision. Jared Porter. See that one bounce into the end zone for a touchback. Second possession upcoming for Texas State, already leading 7-0.
Yeah, Tyler Vitt looked completely in control on that first drive. There was a really good mix of run and pass, good decision making by Vitt. And Jake Spavital, we've talked about the fact that he took over the play calling again, didn't do it in his first year as head coach, and really missed it. He said, my reputation was built on calling plays, and I didn't do that in the first year. I'm certainly doing it in year number 2.
Spates in motion. Sturgis in the backfield. They'll set up the tunnel screen far side. Jeremiah Haydell picks up a first down, ushered out of bounds near the 35-yard line. And Texas State continues to be in a strong rhythm. Strotter there in coverage, Kelly.
This smoke screen is all about the blocking out front. You got to get a hat on a hat and just stop penetration out wide.
Sturgis sent backwards, and down he goes inside the 25. Travion Webster got there, number 10 in maroon and gold. It'll bring up 3rd down.
And so many times, if the point of attack is downhill and you try to bounce it, typically this is what happens, especially into the short side of the field. There isn't a lot of room, and you end up with a negative play as Texas State's 3rd and 6.
Here comes pressure. Vitt may have lost the football. He did. And perhaps the first big play in this game for either defense. Warhawks claim they have it. With a pocket collapse quickly that time, and instead Texas State recovers.
And that pressure on 3rd and 6, a typical pass down, is more in line with the personality of Scott Stoker. He hasn't been a defensive play caller for 3 years, and his personality is much more aggressive, but he didn't get the chance to really do that against Army. There wasn't much of an opportunity to be, an aggressive guy against the triple option. But there you see it. 3rd and pass down. Scott Stoker is going to try to light the quarterback up.
Kilo Sweeney poked the ball out of there. Texas State fortunate to recover. Seamus O'Kelly, the Aussie punter, sends it end over end. Fair catch at the 49. ULM in business in plus territory to start its 2nd possession. 5:55 to go here in the first. Well, we mentioned the loss last year to Florida State, part of a trio of tough setbacks. And this extra point against the Seminoles, Doak Campbell Stadium, prevented the 2nd overtime. Arkansas State and also Louisiana, a couple of close tilts wrap up this season. Back to live action, ULM. Colby Suit slides out of bounds after a short gain.
Well, that Louisiana game in particular for head coach Matt Viator has been a heartbreaker. The last 2 seasons, it's prevented ULM from going to a bowl game against their arch rival, so that one's particularly hard to swallow. You got to find a way to win those type of games.
I mean, you beat FSU on the road. That's going to send shockwaves across the sport.
No doubt.
I mean, SportsCenter's going to lead off with that. And instead, you fall short by just a point. Play action. Tight end has it. And the first touch, Josh Peterson. Check that, Tyler Lamb, number 88. First catch of the season for the 5th-year senior.
And good ball handling, then play action, and then Lamb is coming across the formation, acting like he's running that slice zone where he seals the right defensive end. Instead, he keeps going, and the quarterback, Suits, pulls the ball and delivers it to him.
Gain of 12 and a first down. The tackle by Devin Martinez. Here's Johnson. Warhawks starting to find a rhythm on offense for the first time. Gain of 6, maybe 7 on first down.
And we're going to see a heavy dose of what's called the track zone. It's a zone play up front, zone blocking, a combination of double teams on the line of scrimmage. But the track part is about the offensive line forming a wall and staying on that defensive line level longer. And the purpose of that is to give Johnson the time to be patient and potentially take it out the back door if the defense attacks in an undisciplined manner.
Isaiah Phillips back in the ULM backfield. Straight ahead through the A-gap, and he squirts down to the 20. That's another first down.
And it's the same track zone, but with a different type of body carrying the ball. Phillips is a change-up type of guy. 5'7", a $190. Not as physical, although he had yards after contact right there. But just notice up front, the wall that's built by the offensive line, you stop penetration, and you give the running back the opportunity to be patient and decide where the right point of attack is.
3.5 to go in a fast-moving first quarter. Suits off the back foot, pass is incomplete. Trying to spot Jordan Carroll. He's yet to catch a pass this year. 2nd and 10 upcoming.
And Roy, it's things like that where you have a gimme outside, you have soft coverage on a hitch route, and Carroll drops the ball. The quarterback went to the right place, but if you're talking about not finishing drives well, finishing games well, let alone winning those games that we saw on that highlight reel, you have to finish plays like that.
Here's Suits. Quarterback keeper lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage. Big number 98, Gemmer Daniels brought him down.
Yeah, Daniels is that anchor at the point of attack right over the center. And he's just kind of playing the quarterback. When you're 315, you're not really going anywhere fast most of the time. So he's just peeking for the quarterback, and in that case, it was exactly the right thing to do on the quarterback draw.
3rd and 10. And the Warhawks will empty out the backfield. Suits with a clean pocket towards the end zone. Caught for the touchdown. Jevin Fred brings it in for the score. And ULM an extra point away from tying this one up.
And with the empty formation, and Fred is out wide, matched up on Zion Childress, a true freshman. And the freshman just didn't finish the play well. Fred does a good job of getting by the bump coverage at the line of scrimmage and finishes well on the ball.
Well, the offense found its rhythm that time. Davis Hughes on for the point after. And we're tied at 7, Kelly.
When you go 5 wide, typically it gives the quarterback the opportunity to pick the best matchup. It's hard to zone a 5 wide. You end up with man-to-man coverage. And in this case, a junior at 6'4" and Fred at wide receiver is matched up on Childress, a true freshman. And the receiver wins right there.
I think you and I, coming into this matchup, thought there would be some points on the board before it was all said and done, meaning higher scoring perhaps than most would think.
Yeah,
Couple of touchdowns.
Yeah, the only thing I think we needed to see was ULM ever going to get in that rhythm we talked about. They have the potential to score points, but what I need to see is what does this offense look like without Caleb Evans? Matt Viator is in his 5th year, and Caleb Evans was the play caller for the first 4 years at that quarterback position, and he was the straw that really stirred the drink here on this offense. He's gone. And a prolific offense it was. And so now what does it look like? Well, what it needs to look like is hitching the wagon to Josh Johnson. And we saw more of him on that drive. We still haven't seen a whole lot of Josh Peterson yet, however.
Tied at 7. And Shareed watches that one float right past his helmet into the end zone. So the Bobcats, let's see how they respond in search of their first win of the season. Jake Spavital issuing some last-minute instructions. He was stoked about calling plays this season, wasn't he? That's in his DNA, I believe.
Oh, no doubt about it. And he said, I got this job by calling plays, and then a lot of times because of all of the things that a head coach has to do on a weekly basis, you don't have time to really plan the game from a play calling standpoint. He's gone back to what he knows best.
Here's Fit, floats one deep and incomplete. Trying to spot his receiver, Jamarie Shareed, and Spavital trying to get something going in his second season. 3-11 so far, one of the youngest coaches in the country.
Yeah, and he's gifted too. The stops he's made and the things he's learned from some iconic head coaches, along with some really good quarterbacks, and he's a gifted play caller, and that's certainly the best thing that he can do for this program at Texas State.
Five-man front for the Warhawks on second down. Calvin Hill for the crease. Stop at the 30. It'll bring up 3rd and 5. Hawley got there first.
Really good blocking at the point of attack. You have Dalton Cooper, the left tackle, just simply pushing the defensive end out. And then Hill does a good job of initially pressing straight forward on the line of scrimmage and then bouncing it out to the left.
3rd and 5. Vitt straight ahead. Crosses the 35 on the tackle. That should move the sticks. No, Vitt not the fastest quarterback on the roster, but I think he did enough there to keep the drive going.
Yeah, and productive, and ran the ball on a called quarterback draw with the right coverage. It was one free, which means the middle safety is zoning in the middle of the field, and then it's man-to-man across the board, running out of the middle of the field, covering wide receivers, and Vitt took advantage of that.
Ty Shelby with the tackle. He's back in action this week and healthy. Here's Shareed, and he's brought out at the 50 after the quick catch. And that'll move the chains once again for Texas State.
Shareed ends up going outside from his inside position, and coverage was dropped on the back end, a lack of communication. And that's what the purpose of that is, releasing guys from different places, and sometimes the coverage has a difficult time picking them up.
15-yard gain on the play from midfield. Here's Vitt on the slant. Pass is caught. Haydell has it. And another first down for the Bobcats. So a gain of 17 more, and Texas State in business again.
And you have the zone. We have offside on the defense, but we have the RPO. You have a zone run inside, and you have a slant outside. And if that middle linebacker attacks the run play, which is a zone, you pull it and throw that slant in that void that linebacker just gave up. And that's exactly the way it's done.
Ivan White the stop. Bobcats with tempo. Vitt towards the end zone. Far side. Caught for the touchdown for Texas State. Strouder with the coverage, and instead the Bobcats come up with their second score of the night.
Jeremiah Haydell is going up against Corey Strouder, some say the best cover corner in the conference, but it's all about finishing on the ball. The receiver typically sees it, the cover corner doesn't. And so what the cover corner is supposed to do is allow the receiver's eyes to tell you when the ball's coming. If you're not seeing it, count to 1001 and then break up the pocket where the ball's coming. And Strouder tries to do that, but Haydell comes down with it instead.
Second touchdown of the year for Jeremiah Haydell, the senior from Houston. Seth Keller's extra point on the way and good. 14-7. Bobcats out in front. Well, big play. Jeremiah Haydell has done just a little bit of everything so far in this young season. Perhaps the catch of the year against SMU way back in, what was it, week 0 in the quarter.
Unbelievable.
OBJ-esque.
With tighter coverage.
Then a week ago, the 92-yard punt return with the game on the line against UTSA. The extra point would have given the Bobcats the lead late. Instead, it didn't happen, and of course, Bobcats fell on that one. But tonight, doing what he does best, the big play.
And it was a double move. It was a stutter go, and Corey Straughter didn't even bite on the stutter go and had about the best coverage that you could possibly have. But a well-thrown ball and a great finish by a receiver typically overcomes great coverage, and you saw it on that play. But this group of receivers for Texas State have made some of the best catches in college football.
Jeremiah Haydell.
Set that next to the one Barbie already made in this game. I mean, seriously.
Here's Isaiah Phillips from his own 10. Brought down hard at the 26. We mentioned Odell Beckham Jr. Of course, he had the first one-handed catch that was unbelievable 6 years ago against the New York Giants, and the comparisons obviously make a lot of sense when you pair them up side by side.
Yeah, but what I like is the finish on the ball by Jeremiah Haydell on the right. Because of the coverage, he has a guy sitting on his mustache and still finishes well on the ball, and we saw the one with Beckham, and that was unreal, but my vote goes to Jeremiah Haydell's version.
I would tend to agree.
Yeah, it's all about the coverage in your chest.
Johnson across the right side. Josh Johnson trying to get something cooking. That's a gain of 2.
OBJ had already thrown his coverage to the ground on the press coverage man fading the end zone, so his coverage was already crawling on the floor, and Haydell's was right in his chest.
Could be the final play of the first quarter. An exciting first 15 minutes. Almost in the books here at Malone Stadium. Do get the snap off. Suits. Johnson, first catch, ushered out at the 34. And in coverage for Texas State was Torrey Spears. Bobcats lead at 14-7. A couple of quick touchdowns for Texas State on the road in the Sun Belt Conference opener for both sides. Off a historic weekend for the league. More fireworks here tonight. Well, it's coming up next week. Saturday night primetime football matchup is here. Number 17, Miami, hosting Florida State in one of the great rivalries in all of sport, the Sunshine State rivalry. Noles trying to get something going after the Canes have won their last 3. 7:30 Eastern on ABC, 4:30 Pacific. And, of course, our thoughts and prayers with the Florida State family. Mike Norvell found out earlier today, COVID-19 positive. Apparently his symptoms have been minimal, if not non-existent. So that's the good news. But the bad news is he's in quarantine leading up to this game down at the U, Kelly.
Yeah, unbelievable. And this isn't going away anytime soon, that's for sure. And Florida State certainly has been up against it for quite some time. I think Mike Norvell is that right guy. It's just going to take a little time to get there.
Back at JPS Field, Malone Stadium, Monroe, Louisiana. 3rd and 3 for the Warhawks. Suits across the middle, batted down. Samuel Obiang reached up to swat that one down, and he did so successfully. That'll make it 4th down.
Vitt had the crossing route was there, and Suits had him. And it was Obiang that just gets his paw up late. And rushers are meant to do that, or taught to do that. If you can't get pressure and push the pocket, read the eyes of the quarterback and try to get in the throwing lane, and that was done successfully right there.
Bobcats defense stands tall. Jared Porter. Watch this one bounce. And that was fielded and muffed. You cannot advance the football on the return, or excuse me, on the muff punt. I think that's going to be a turnover, and I think the Warhawks are going to have possession here. No touchdown, but that is a turnover, Kelly.
I didn't know for sure if the returner, Isaiah Phillips, I believe it was, actually touched it. He intended to, but it almost looked like it was plucked right before it got to his hands. It'll be interesting to see if they rule that the returner indeed just did touch this.
Bloomfield thought he had a nice, cheap touchdown. Let's take another look.
And Phillips is doing the right thing by calling what they usually say is Peter, 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 meaning it's a short punt, get out of the way, and then inexplicably he goes up. Actually, it's a guy before him that touches it before the returner does.
Well, Haydell was back there to return it. Yes, indeed, they're going to call that a turnover.
I think it was Tuggle, number 21, that didn't even know where the football was, and it's the returner's responsibility to let everybody know that it's a short punt, get out of the way. And Tuggle, number 21, I think got it on his right hand, and that's why Phillips was trying to get up there to fill it. And I think this is going to be reviewed to see if indeed the return team did touch it first.
So the replay booth will have another look at that sequence, John Allman.
And actually, I had the wrong number 3. Jeremiah Haydell was the returner back deep. And you'll see him run up, pointing and yelling. And I believe it was 21, Tuggle, that gets his right hand on the football inadvertently because he didn't know where the ball was.
Still should be a confirmed turnover.
Those are so difficult for the upbacks that are blocking. When your punt returner is running up and yelling, you don't really get clear direction. Where is the ball and where should I go? And Tuggle, number 21, I think just makes the wrong move and it hits him in the right hand. And they're actually two 21s. We need to make that known. There's Tuggle, number 21, a receiver, and Anthony Smith, the linebacker.
Wayne Winkler telling you that despite the microphone malfunction on the field. Big break for ULM. They'll get the football back. Knocking on the front door of the red zone.
And with Caleb Evans in the past 4 years, ULM was a tremendous red zone team, and we'll see what their personality is with Colby Suits taking over this season.
Little surprised we have not seen Josh Peterson enter the mix yet, one of the top tight ends in the country. There's Josh Johnson, sent backwards after a quality gain, and he lost the football. There goes Texas State. And the turnover will give it back to the Bobcats. Anthony Smith came out of there with it.
It was a great job by the defender coming up and putting his hat right on the football, and the ball comes loose.
That's Cordell Rogers, Kelly.
And Rogers comes up with it. I mean, form tackling 101 is you try to put your helmet, your face mask really, right on the football, and that was done to perfection right there.
Back-to-back turnovers.
It was the star defender, Kevin Anderson, number 5, that made that great hit on the football.
Cherie plus territory. A little shake and bake down to the 49. And a gain of 15 yards on first down.
Vitt has such a good feel for that run-pass option. And again, it's the zone slant. Defender steps up, that's isolated, attacks the zone runner, throw the slant in where he vacated.
Vitt with time. Cherie, another catch. Ushered out of bounds near the 45-yard line. Jack T.J. Graham coming back to catch that one.
real impressive in terms of the yards gained, but what's impressive is that's literally the third look in the progression of Vitt, and he gets to the right place.
Vitt, nifty move. Tyler Vitt inside the 30. Brought down from behind by Austin Holly. First down for Texas State.
Great time for it. Called quarterback draw, faking the pitch outside, but it was designed to go inside. You could tell by the blocking up front all along that Vitt was going to be the ball carrier right there.
After a gain of 13, Sturgis inside run. Makes a man miss, and another. Stop at the 12. That's a gain of 9, maybe 10 on first down. Let's see if they move the chains. They do.
Sturgis has the reputation of being a more physical back in the tackle box, but he made a lot of guys miss right there. Zone up inside, and he continues to climb the ladder off to the left. It's a power play to the right, but in reality, there was a cutback to the left because the defense overplayed it.
Smith stopped him from behind. They'll say that's a gain of 9. Sturgis picks up the first down on the next carry.
So many times when it's a power run, in that case to the right the play before, you have two offensive line relocating, and the defense sometimes will overreact to that. If the running back, Sturgis, is patient, sometimes the back door opens up.
Sturgis. Patient run, gain of 4, stop at the 8.
Jake Spavital told us that it's about establishing the run and the rest of the game plan opens up, and Texas State has done that well in this first half.
Vitt with a pass, and a touchdown for Texas State. Bobcats extend their lead. Tyler Vitt scores from 7 yards out. 20-7 our new score with 12:04 remaining in the half.
Jackson Lanham is number 87. A lot of times he goes across the formation to block the backside, and they run a zone play out of that. This time, Vitt keeps it, and Lanham becomes the lead blocker. And that, although he had no one to block, and Vitt takes it in the end zone.
Seth Keller on for the point after. Splits the Pines 21-7. Bobcats flexing on the road so far. Brock Sturgis, a little shake and bake, picks up the first down, followed by Tyler Vitt from 8 yards out here in Monroe.
Big news out of the Big Ten. After an initial postponement of the season, the conference has unanimously voted to resume play with all teams playing 9 games, starting the weekend of October 24th.
Well, the Big Ten back in business. So is Texas State on the road, leading ULM here in Monroe, Louisiana, 21-7. Kelly Stopper, Roy Philpott. Plenty of time remaining here in our first half. You and I were talking during the break. Tyler Vitt looks a little bigger than 6'2", 205, doesn't he?
I'm not buying the 205 side. He might be 6'2", but I'm saying more like 225.
You look at where we are so far, Kelly, with our game trends.
Yeah, Texas State is active offensively, and then Haydel, we know that he makes spectacular catches. The back-to-back turnovers, and Texas State took advantage of it, and ULM didn't. They gave it right back. So to me, this is answer time right now for ULM. You have to get something done on this drive to feel better about yourselves.
And you wonder, is this going to be the first possession where we see Josh Peterson targeted? Preseason first-team All-Sun Belt tight end for the Warhawks, son of the Eagles head coach. He'll flip it to Carter, and he's got no real estate. He's shoved down back at the 17-yard line. How about the Bobcats?
And Texas State has upgraded their speed this year. They have a lot of new faces, and the order of the day defensively was to get more speed on the field. There have been multiple times tonight, whether it was a designed run outside or the running back tried to bounce it outside, that it was smothered by that new speed defensively for Texas State.
Britt Isidore got there first. It's a loss of 3. Suits loads one up. Pass will be caught at the 35, right at the chains. And that should move him as Jaquan Bloomfield makes his second reception.
Really good job by Colby Suits working through his progression. He starts to the left side, and then Bloomfield is going to be his third receiver, quarters coverage, and so the defense is going to pass off those receivers. And so there was nothing to the left, and then Bloomfield comes into the view of the quarterback just in time.
Peterson sets up into the boundary. Johnson runs his direction. He'll lose a yard. Morris, numeral 0, got there first.
I love the numeral 0, especially when he's 5'9", maybe a $160 soaking wet, but he's a really good cover corner, but he's a powder keg. He comes up and forces things in the run.
You think about what Zach Spavital told us about Jaron Morris this week. Very instinctive and probably our best cover guy. 2nd and 11. Suits. Tunnel screen. Drop at the 45. It'll bring up 3rd down. Barry Carter will add 9 yards on that grab.
Good job by Suits finding Carter on the screen, because the defensive end, Isidore, had tracked it down, number 95, right in the way. And so the receiver, Carter, had to keep moving and show his numbers to the quarterback. That was a disaster waiting to happen.
3rd down and 1 after the stop by Isidore, and Graham in his outside linebacker spot. And Phillips didn't need much. I don't think he got there. Head across the 46, and he was stopped short.
Yeah, a good yard short. This is decision-making time for Matt Viator, because his offense hasn't looked good as of late. You're down 21-7. You're kind of nearing the 50 where you make these kind of decisions to go for it anyway, and in comes Josh Johnson, who typically is the drive extender in situations like this.
Gibber Daniels, 5'11", 320. Right there in the A-gap, plugging the hole in that last play. Johnson straight ahead. Lost the football, and Texas State holds on 4th down.
Johnson wasn't going to get it even if he hung onto the football. And remember, the running game isn't just about a quarterback or a running back. It's obviously about the offensive line. And ULM is replacing 127 starts on the offensive line of scrimmage. And this play just gets absolutely blown up, and ULM needs to find something quickly.
Well, it was 2 months ago, student athletes at Texas State teamed up with the San Marcos Police Department to conduct a unity march through campus. Many local law enforcement officers and Texas State linebacker Gavin Graham spoke to those who gathered. Graham, head coach Jake Spavital, and other Bobcats continue to have dialogue with the San Marcos PD to truly develop equality and justice for all in their community. And great to see the Lone Star State, as the rest of us around the country certainly have gotten behind the movement to help combat social injustices. Texas State with possession plus territory. 1st down, Tyler Vitt, and the screen pass overthrown. Looking for Hill. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And well diagnosed by both Keyshawn Johnson, number 7, and Webster, number 10, from their linebacker spot. The quarterback goes one way, and typically the purpose is to draw that linebacking group with him, and Johnson and Webster were having none of it.
If you're Texas State, you really have a chance to extend this advantage Put your foot on the gas here. Second down. Here comes pressure for the Warhawks. There goes Vitt with an opening. Tyler Vitt picks up a first down, spins down at the 26-yard line, and Vitt flashing some speed.
And that's where we're talking about Vitt being a little bit thicker than 205. This was actually a lead draw. You can see Calvin Hill, the running back, is supposed to get up in there and block. It was fairly well defended initially, but Vitt doesn't go down as easily. He's not going anywhere particularly fast, but he breaks tackles.
Travion Webster held on for dear life to make sure Vitt didn't pick up more yardage. Hill stopped at the 23. Webster again.
And Roy, you can really see Jake Spavital's ability to call plays. You know, the sequencing of plays, how he builds one play on top of the other, and then the pass play that comes off the run play. You run a quarterback draw, and then you're coming back with power. All of those things are difficult to defend. Calvin Hill, Webster. The TFL, he was stopped at the 25. Travion Webster trying to keep the Warhawks around. And penetration, you see the pullers from the backside that just didn't find their landmarks when they had relocated over to the right because of the penetration. It's Keyshawn Johnson as well, 3rd down and 7 now for Texas State. Vitt with a pump fake and a double move towards the end zone. Pylon, did he catch it? He did for the touchdown. Marcel Barbie doing what he does best. He climbs the ladder, brings in another touchdown catch. There is a flag on the field back at the 27. And this one's coming back. Contested catch once again by Marcel Barbie. We've already seen it out of Jeremiah Haydell. Is not going to count, but it's spectacular nonetheless. You fake the screen out wide, that's the pump fake, and then Barbie's going deep, and it's well defended by Sweeney, number 6. But again, the defender doesn't see the ball. The quarterback throws it to a place the receiver can make a play, and man alive, this group of Texas State receivers make contested catches with the best of them. Ty Shelby got a hit against Tyler Vitt. Could have been a scoring play. Play action across the middle. Haydell has it. And Kelly, that should put the Bobcats in field goal range on 4th down, and it will. Yeah, and I think you want points. The holding penalty really took you out of field goal range. And that run pass option where it's the zone slant again, and Jake Spavital knows that Tyler Vitt will execute the play the way it's designed, and the defender steps up, the slant in behind it, Vitt hits it, and it makes this field goal attempt much, much closer. Seth Keller, transfer in from Cisco College in Texas, is the field goal kicker. This effort from 40 yards out on the way. Has the distance, and that kick is good, and that is an important development for Texas State, given all the struggles a week ago from Alan Arona. 24-7 our score. The Bobcats, a 17-point lead. Just over 6 to play in the first. Week 2 of the NFL is here, 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow with the Countdown crew. They're going to have you locked, loaded, ready to go ahead of Tom Brady's first home start as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Detail how his arrival in Tampa included an accidental home invasion. Plus, Randy Moss ranks today's best college football catches, breaking stories, injury updates, all you would expect from the Countdown crew. 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, week 2. Hard to believe, already in the National Football League. Kelly Stoffer, Roy Philpott back at Malone Stadium here in the Sun Belt Conference, and Texas State having its way so far. The homestanders, ULM Warhawks. All right, so diagnose what's happened so far offensively for Colby Suits and company. What's gone wrong? Well, good offensive play starts up front, and the offensive line right now just isn't communicating very well, and they're replacing a boatload of people. Massive guys up front, but the right guard, Fiola, and Sam Williams are the only guys with experience. Center left, you lost 127 starts. Communication is king on the line of scrimmage. So last week against Army, you saw the same thing. Defenders running through because there was a lack of communication, and you're seeing it again tonight. So therefore, Josh Johnson can't really get untracked, and they were hoping that would be different in game 2.
Yeah, Johnson's been held in check, arguably the best running back in the Sun Belt. Josh Peterson has yet to catch a pass. Quick reception for ULM here by Zach Jackson. And that's a first down, so a good start for ULM. The Warhawks need points on this possession, trailing by 17.
I think critically they need points, 24-7, and it's the way the offense has looked. They've tried to continue to run the ball. They get tackles for loss, negative plays. They're behind the sticks, and before long they're punting.
Across the middle, Malik Jackson scored his first touchdown a week ago, into plus territory now for ULM. He'll be brought down at the 48-yard line.
And I think there's more of an opportunity to run that. Run pass option, zone inside, slant outside, the defender steps up, and Malik Jackson runs right into that void. I mean, that's the way you can handle one more defender. If your offensive line isn't blocking him, let the quarterback read that guy in a zone pass or a run pass option situation.
Third tackle by Zach Childress. Suits by some time into triple coverage and nearly picked off. Well, that should have been his first interception of the season, and Childress was mad at himself. Rightfully so.
Yeah, that was a poor decision for sure. He gets outside the pocket and then throws late over the middle to a receiver that's surrounded by 3 defenders. Nothing that you wanted to have happen would happen on that play.
Sun Belt opener for both Texas State and ULM. Suits back to the air. Fred makes his second reception. First one went for a touchdown. Short yardage here.
I think there's plenty of that. Soft coverage on the outside. That's typically what Texas State does. They play a lot of 3 deep. They roll a safety late, one direction or the other, typically into the boundary, but they're off and soft on the outside, and that's, you have room. That could be your running game right there.
So after a gain of 4, the tackle by Mask. 3rd down and 6, and you wonder if this is 4-down territory once again for ULM. Against a 4-man front. Quick toss. Chandler Whitfield has it. Makes a nice move, and that'll keep the drive going.
So, Roy, in calling plays, you have to decide which phase of the game is going to set up the other. In this case, the pass game is going to have to set up the run game. Typically, it's the other way around, especially with ULM with Josh Johnson. You want to pound the rock with that track zone, and it loosens up the pass game because defenders have to crowd the line of scrimmage. But it's almost in reverse right now because of that troubled offensive line.
Warhawks needed 6. They gained 7. Whitfield makes his second catch. Stopped at the 19-yard line, and just like that, the Warhawks in business. And a bit of emotion from number 4 in maroon and gold, Chandler Whitfield.
ULM needs some emotion. It was the fake zone inside, and Josh Peterson was going to the flat. And then you have Whitfield coming across the field.
With tempo, the screen. Hodo, first reception for number 18. And he'll be stopped at the 11. 2nd and short upcoming for the Warhawks. 3:24 to go in our first half.
This was the rhythm that head coach and play caller Matt Viator was looking for. It's been few and far between, again, because the offensive line has been woefully inconsistent. So you have to do something else. In the screen game, the run-pass option game is a good place to start.
Winfield matched up man-to-man. Instead, the handoff. Johnson to the edge. Tackled at the 5. He was sandwiched down between two defenders. It'll be 1st and goal for the Warhawks. Torrey Spears, the tackler.
Pass game is loosening up the run game to some extent. And then Josh Johnson knows how to find yards. He can create his own shot sometimes, as you saw in that play. It's one of the few times tonight that the run game for ULM has been able to successfully bounce it outside.
Kelly, you have one of the best pass-catching tight ends in the country in the red zone, Josh Peterson. See if he sees his name called on what will be 2nd and goal after Johnson was bottled up at the 6. Give him credit and forward progress down to the 5.
Well, the defensive coordinator for Texas State, Zach Spavata, told us that he thinks the game plan for ULM offensively is to hook the wagon to number 8 and then play action pass and use the hybrid tight end Peterson, especially down in the red zone. So number 86 needs to be found right here.
Phillips is the running back on 2nd and goal. Sprint right, shoots, end zone. And finally, Peterson, the target. That pass too high.
And Peterson was the middle receiver with 3 receivers out to the right, and then he goes to the corner. But the defense zoned it off and had Peterson well covered. But where has number 86 been? He doesn't appear to be hurt, but he also doesn't appear to have been targeted very often tonight.
First time right there, 3rd down and goal, 1:44 to go in the 1st. Warhawks have won the last 4 in this series. Different stories so far tonight. Suits will buy some time. Pressure by Isidore. Off the back foot, it was caught. Whitfield has it. Did he cross the plane? He did for the touchdown. 3 catches on that drive for ULM, all by Chandler Whitfield. His last one counts for 6.
It's number 95. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
Wayne Winkler the call. Nico Isidore roughing the passer penalty after the touchdown.
Suits does a great job of extending the play and then directing traffic, and Whitfield was initially going out with the quarterback and then set down on the quarterback's command right on the goal line.
How big was that here at the end of the first half? First touchdown of Chandler Whitfield's career, the redshirt freshman, Zachary, Louisiana, and the extra point makes it a 10-point affair. Chandler Whitfield, 5'8", $165, comes up huge. ULM back in it. Time for our Fansville College Football Update, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. And how about Ken Niumatalolo? Engineering the comeback win
That was
at
impressive.
Yulman Stadium.
I was feeling for Coach Niumatalolo early because it just didn't look like his type of team, and they came back in an amazing fashion. How about Louisiana?
Fighting Billy Napier's in OT in the ATL.
Hey, you have to handle that new neighborhood you're in by being a ranked team, and you just have to find a way to win, and they did.
Well, I thought it was interesting. They asked him during the broadcast at halftime, how do you think your team has responded? He said, actually quite well. It took us a little bit of time. We're going to find a way to get there. Wes Durham and Roddy Jones on the call. And one more look at that last touchdown.
The Chandler Winfield finishes it, and this ball was really well thrown in a lot of traffic, and this was needed big time. And that ball just has to penetrate the front of that goal line. If you were wondering if Whitfield got knocked out of the end zone, it didn't matter. He possessed it already. But yeah, that was vital. That drive, 11 plays, took a lot of time, and then mainly it finished in the end zone.
Lead is 10. Vitt back to work. Haydell has it, and there he goes. Jeremiah Haydell off to the races. Can he get to the end zone? Yes, he can for the touchdown. The big play machine rolls right along.
Sometimes it does not take very long with this big play group of receivers. Jeremiah Haydell chief among them. Once again, zone inside, defender steps up, quarterback Vitt pulls it, throws to the slant behind it, man-to-man coverage, nobody left home. And Haydell takes it to the house.
He has been all over the field tonight, and he's done that in all 3 games he's played in so far this year. Keller's extra point is true. 31-14.
And Vitt has a really good feel of the run-pass option game, and Jake Spavital told us that. And the interesting thing is, Brady McBride, the transfer from Memphis, was named the starter and started that first game. And he was handpicked out of the transfer portal to run this offense with Jake Spavital calling the plays. But the difference in the run-pass option, McBride trusts his arm and sometimes will force the ball on the throw when he should have actually given it up. And Jake told us that Tyler Vitt is going to play the run-pass option by the book. Well, the book said that time, defender steps up to attack the zone run downhill, you throw the slant in behind it, and it ends up in the end zone. As fast as a quarterback, you simply do what you're supposed to do.
Haydell over 100 yards receiving, 2 touchdown grabs already tonight. Highlight reel plays all over the place for the incredible senior from Houston, Texas.
Yeah, just when ULM had that 11-play drive to score a touchdown and somewhat of an answer, thought they could feel good about themselves going into halftime, and then lightning struck and Haydell standing in the end zone again.
Now the good news for the Warhawks is Phillips watches it bounce in the end zone. Got a $1:23 to work with, 2 timeouts. We'll see if you can try to answer here before the end of the first half.
Yeah, this is somewhat prototypical short time offense. You have a couple of timeouts. You typically don't want to burn one of them until you're well under a minute. But you obviously need to be moving with a sense of urgency. And quite frankly, they need to look right now on this short time drive, like they did the last drive. Getting the ball out quickly to receivers that can run with it after they catch it.
Bobcats lead it the second time tonight by 17. Colby Suits back on the field. Pressure up the middle. And a pass caught, good enough for a first down, and a gain of 16 by Jaquan Bloomfield.
So the ball's out of bounds. You can take your time. You don't have to go up-tempo in that situation. Good job by Suits just manipulating the pocket. He's not going to run anywhere fast, but it's the subtle movement to get the throw off because your eyes are still downfield.
Stepping out to stop the clock, 1:14 remaining. Suits all day. Across the middle, caught another first down. This went into plus territory for Jonathan Hodo. There is a flag on the field back at the 36.
Holding. Offense number 54. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
That's Garrett Hirsch, the transfer from Illinois State.
And it was pretty good protection, but the hold's going to come somewhere in that vicinity. You get a good push, and then Ezador continues to fight, and then right there at the end, when the play's extended a little bit, the defender gets off of square somewhat on the offensive tackle or the offensive guard, and that's where the holding comes.
So instead of 1st and 10 in plus territory, 1st and 20 back at the 30-yard line. Dump off Johnson. He scampers out of bounds after a short pickup.
And Hirsch is actually in there. You talked about it, the transfer from Illinois State. Had a foot problem in Illinois State. He transfers out, and comes to ULM, he's in there at center. And that's where they might be able to get better at the offensive line of scrimmage, is more experience at the pivot point at the center position, and then maybe they can get depth elsewhere.
Last 2-yard gain, stopped by Cordell Rogers, who's been active in this first half for Texas State. Suit surveys, fires, passes caught by Perry Carter. Spun down at the 46, it'll bring up 3rd down.
And ULM's going to use one of their timeouts, a good use of it. If this ball is placed a little bit better and out front of Perry Carter, it was man-to-man coverage, and Carter has the speed to get out the back side of that. But it's on the back shoulder. He had to wait for the football, and he got tackled immediately after catching it.
So a gain of 14, tackled by Mask. ULM with 1 timeout remaining and 38 seconds to work with.
You know, the ball placement by Colby Suits right there are the subtle little things that ULM has to do better. It has to become a habit where you place the ball well. That's the difference of being 3rd and 5 now and a big play, because your speed guy, Perry Carter, ran out the back door with the crossing route against man-to-man coverage.
And we mentioned Colby Suits taking over for Caleb Evans. Basically started the last 35 games here for the Warhawks, and he could do just about a little bit of everything, Kelly.
And he's the difference maker. Caleb Evans has been. In the run game, he was the 2nd leading rusher a year ago behind Josh Johnson. And then the quarterback zone read was lethal in this offense.
Pocket collapses. Too much zest on that pass, looking for Perry Carter across the middle.
Ball placement once again. It essentially was the same route out of Perry Carter, and it was high and it was hot, and it causes ULM to punt the football. If the ball placement is at the numbers and out in front, Perry's out the back door again. Now, there was pressure that time on the quarterback. Suits, the play before there was not, but you can't really blame the quarterback by not being exactly on target when you have someone in your face.
Missed opportunity for ULM. We'll get the football first to start our second half. Fair catch made for it the 16. So Texas State, 3 timeouts, 27 seconds left here in our first half. And
you want to try a little something right
Well,
here?
I mean, it took about 13 seconds the last time they had it to go 75.
Yeah, they have another 2.5 scores in them.
I may roll the dice.
Why not? Because the way you can do it, if you're Jake Spavital, the way you can do it is that zone slant combination in the run-pass game, and let your quarterback Vitt make a good decision. But everything we just said goes out the window because Vitt's taking a knee.
That's why we're not head coaches.
That's exactly right. It's easy to call that stuff from up here.
That'll be the final play of our first half. And Texas State, led by a 2nd-year head coach, looking for its first win of the season. Jake Spavital has to be pleased with his team's performance thus far. 300 yards total offense, a 17-point lead in the Sun Belt Conference opener for both ULM and Texas State. And the Bobcats, some 460 miles away from home, feeling so good. 2 quarters in here in Monroe. And welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Dr. Pepper. Down on the Bayou here in Louisiana, 31-14 our score. Texas State leading ULM on the road with Kelly Stopper, Roy Philpott. Great to have you with us. Texas State awfully impressive offensively in the first half, and I don't know if it's just me, but it seems like one of their wide receivers lives on SportsCenter this time of year.
No kidding, and Tyler Vitt is very comfortable with that group of wide receivers out wide, and it really didn't matter which one it was.
Start with Marcel Barbie off the deflection.
Off the deflection, catch it going to the ground. I mean, that has to be on SportsCenter at some point in time. And then it's Jeremiah Haydell, that the contested catch against Corey Straughter, a very good cover guy outside. And once again, the finish on the ball by the wide receivers, and then the run pass option, zone inside, slant outside to Haydell, and he takes it to the house. We saw a lot of that in the first half, and ULM just couldn't get anything going. We talked about it. It's about hitching the wagon to Josh Johnson, the running back, and Texas State would have none of it. And if you don't have the running game behind this offensive line that lost so many starts, what are you going to do? And it was few and far between. 4th and 1, lost the ball, lost the yard, and there we have it.
Johnson, 10 carries, 26 yards on the ground in the first half, and for what's considered to be the top running back in the Sun Belt, that's just not going to get it done.
Yeah, considering Josh Johnson had over 200 carries a year ago and averaged 6.5 yards a pop. One of 4 in the country to achieve that. So yeah, it's about meshing with an offensive line that is extremely inexperienced from the center over, and we'll see if that changes in some form here in the second half. And by the way, where's Josh Peterson? We talked about that in the first half. We thought he would be targeted. We thought it was targeted one time and had no catches in that first half.
Warhawks have the football first to begin our third quarter. Handoff to Johnson. He'll plow his way ahead for a gain of 5.
So Roy, typically that offensive line unit is a prideful bunch, and they no doubt got a tongue lashing at halftime. So you would expect the ULM offensive line to come out lathered up and try to give Josh Johnson, number 8, an opportunity.
Officially a gain of 6. Second carry for Johnson to start our second half. Bring up 3rd down and 2. I mean, we've seen ULM try to run right at Gimmer Daniels, big number 98. And tell you what, he's doing a great job plugging up that A-gap. 5'11", 315 this year, Kelly. That's a run stuffer.
That is a run stuffer. And Daniels plays the nose tackle. Really a zero technique, a 3-man defensive line that Zach Spavataw does on that side of the ball. 3 down linemen, and then you have a bunch of versatility on the 2nd and 3rd levels from this defense. And Daniels has to cover both A-gaps in that run game, and in the first half he did it quite well.
TJ Fiola helped off the field, the redshirt junior starting right guard.
One of the experienced guys, broken ankle last year, but you don't want to see that considering the trouble that this offensive line has already been having.
Having to replace those 4 starters from a year ago. 3rd down and 2. Big play to start our second half. Suits with all kinds of time. And he's going to be brought down right at the line of scrimmage. He's going to bring up 4th down. Gavin Graham snuck in there. Sion Tupo also clogging up the gaps. 3 and out for ULM, Kelly.
And that ball was designed to come out quickly. That's why the short drop by the quarterback, Suits. A slant outside was covered. Suits tries to climb in the pocket, and there just wasn't anywhere to go. And once again, a drive ends very quickly for ULM.
And keep your eye on number 3 for Texas State, Jeremiah Haydell. 91-yard punt return for a touchdown a week ago. Call for the fair catch here, and he makes one diving down at the 35. So a punt of 40 yards, 1st and 10 for Texas State. Jeremiah Haydell, 5 grabs, 140-plus yards, 2 touchdowns in that first half, helping pace this Texas State offense.
And Jake Spavataw told us that he wanted to be balanced, and you could see right there on that graphic that that's what balance looks like. It's balance not only in plays called, but it's balance in production that those plays get. And Texas State had that in the first half.
Sturgis, deep handoff, spun down, stays alive. He'll lose a yard after all of that. Good pressure that time. Mason Husband sneaking in there for ULM.
Roy, in that first half, we talked about the bonus it was that Tyler Vitt had over 40 yards rushing as the leading rusher in that first half. Some nifty running on that quarterback draw. That's a bonus for this run game for Jake Spavataw.
We like bonus yards.
Yes, we do.
Especially if you're a fan of the Bobcats. Pressure on Vitt, gets rid of it, broken up. Blanket coverage by Josh Newton, the sophomore from right here in Monroe. He's flexing.
Yeah, he is. And Josh Newton, along with Corey Straughter, are very good cover guys. Run the route with the receiver, reach in with that left hand, don't go through the receiver and get a pass interference on you. Well done by Newton there.
They tried to spot Graham. Newton said no. 3rd down and 11.
A great opportunity for ULM's defense to get off the field to start this first half or second half.
Bobcats 3 of 5 on 3rd down. Explosive in nature in the first 2 quarters. This time Vitt wants it all. And the pass is going to be caught. There is a flag on the field. Marcel Barbie, again, another circus-type catch.
I think the pass interference might actually be on Barbie. I thought he drug Corey Strotter, number 21, to the ground. Very difficult to call.
Barbie has something to say even after the penalty.
Offense, number 21, 15-yard penalty, replay 3rd down.
Now Barbie still found a way to come up with a catch, Kelly.
Right at the end, you can see Barbie grabs the jersey of Strotter and drags him to the ground. I think correctly called right there. That's a great look at it. Pass interference on Barbie, but that play that's pass interference is closely related to the great plays that we see Barbie make down the field. There's a lot of jousting that goes on between press corners and vertical receivers, and sometimes you win as the receiver and sometimes you get caught doing things you shouldn't have.
3rd and 26. And Hill straight ahead. Warhawks defense doing its part to start this second half.
Defensive coordinator for ULM, Scott Stoker, talked about he wants to be aggressive. That's his nature, and that's what you saw on that drive. You saw more guys in the box, press man on the outside, and trying to find a way to get off the field.
There's Perry Carter, junior from Houston. Returnable punt from his 34. Punishing run. Carter ahead to the 47. Good field position for the Warhawks for their second possession of our 3rd quarter. ULM trying to get back in business for its home opener.
The first NFL game in Las Vegas is on Monday Night Football. Join Kirk Herbstreit and Reese Davis for a special Monday Night Megacast as they welcome guests to talk about Breeze and the Saints versus Gruden and the Las Vegas Raiders. Monday on ESPN2.
The first game in Vegas and a Megacast to go with it. I love it.
Yeah, outstanding. That's going to be interesting. Of all teams, to see the Raiders in Vegas. I don't know, for some reason that just works for me.
By the way, that last sequence under review for targeting. 11:39 remaining in our 3rd quarter. Kelly Stopper, Roy Philpott, Perry Carter. And some helmet-to-helmet contact.
Yeah, that's the crown of the helmet variety, and it doesn't matter where the crown hits if you attack with it.
After video review, defense number 23 committed a targeting foul with the crown of the helmet. 15-yard penalty and an automatic 1st down.
Preston
Number 23
Dibbery.
is disqualified from the contest.
Who is that?
Number 23 for Texas State. Junior from Kerrville, Texas. Has been ejected, so primarily special teams and some strong safety as a second teamer this year. Those scoring at home, and we know that you are this late hour. Dibbery's out. So that'll set up ULM in Texas State territory. Kelly, they put some points on the board here. Don't look now, this becomes a football game once again.
Yeah, you just called that a minute ago, and a lot of people wrote it down so we could remind you of it. But yeah, something good for ULM has to happen right here.
Colby Suits back on the field, sophomore, making his second career start. He's completed 18 passes so far tonight. 25 attempts for $187. Solid evening. Warhawks going to need a little bit more to get back in it. Four-man front for the Bobcats, and here's Suits. And a pass caught. Gain of 14 and a first down. Chandler Whitfield quickly becoming Colby Suits' favorite target.
Yeah, Whitfield only had 3 catches coming into the day, but you see the subtle movement, the strong arm, and Whitfield from his slot position busted outside. And that's been a pretty decent matchup. It's kind of a combo coverage on the backside, and Suits is doing a good job of sorting that coverage out.
Josh Johnson keeps the play alive, churning the legs inside the 15. Close to another first down for ULM.
And if our offensive line is having trouble getting a hat on a hat in the run game early in the down and distance, you have to be willing to throw it early. First down throwing, things of that nature, and you then loosen up the defense in coverage, and then you get a more favorable box to run that zone in and try to get Josh Johnson on track.
Johnson trying to get lathered up. He was stopped by Christian Taylor, but not before he picked up another ULM first down. Suits, screen. There's Peterson, first catch to the edge. Ushered out of bounds after an 8-yard gain. And the Warhawks offense looking different on this possession so far, Kelly.
Well, and this is the first catch of the night for Josh Peterson. He comes across the formation. Typically it's a slice zone, which Peterson will cut off that backside. The zone goes to the left, he cuts off the right. But in this case, he fakes that and slips into the flat, and it was well designed. And we see Peterson catching the ball for the first time.
Spears and Cordell Rogers ushered him out. Officially a gain of 7. Approaching 10 to go in our third quarter. Johnson again. Stutter step, tried to jump cut, stopped short.
And that's a sign that Johnson's not feeling comfortable with the offensive line, because typically he's more patient than that. He jumped prematurely. Texas State reacted out there, and then he jumped back inside. Typically with the zone scheme in particular, the running backs have to press the line of scrimmage, allow that track zone to get going, and it takes patience out of Johnson.
A lot of credit to Texas State front 3 tonight. Sam Obiang, Nico Ezador combined to make the last stop. Big play here on 3rd and 2 and make it 3rd and 7 after movement along the right side.
False start. Offense, number 85. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
Donovan Hickman, tight end. As they loaded up, strong side, trying to get some yards.
Yeah, right down here I think is going to be Hickman who jumps. And once again, just doing the little things right. The first thing you have to do as an offensive player is know the snap count. That's the advantage, obviously, the offense has. We know when, and we know where, and we know what on the offensive side, but if you forget the when, you can't get anything done successfully.
I love how you said we right there.
Yeah, we.
Former quarterback talking.
Never forget that.
Out of the gun, shoots to the end zone. Incomplete. Boy, contact. And Rogers walks out of there with it, nothing doing. As the pass hit the turf. Hodo.
Yeah, Hodo comes on the slant, and I believe this pass could have been thrown a little bit earlier. Suits goes to the right guy, but right now, bang! You don't have to see the receiver. Anticipate where he's going because you know the route, and that ball, if it's out just a hair sooner, then Hodo probably has a better opportunity to catch that.
Fifth-year senior looking for his first touchdown reception of the season comes up empty. Davis Hughes on for the field goal. 0 for 1 this season. From the right hash, 28-yard effort is true. Well, the Warhawks on the board first to start our second half. And don't go anywhere just yet. We have a 2-score game down on the Bayou. .17 our score, 8:42 remaining in the third quarter. Extra Yard for Teachers Week. It's an annual effort led by the College Football Playoff Foundation to bring college football together, to support and celebrate teachers across the country. Thanks to the CFP, ESPN is honored to donate $20,000 this week to help support teachers and their students. To learn more about Extra Yard for Teachers, follow at CFP Extra Yard. And this year, ULM Athletics partnered with Carver Elementary School right here in Monroe to provide them with tools to ease the transition to virtual learning. Webcams, microphones, laptop computers, all assisting in that transition. Our hats off to everybody here with the Warhawks program. Texas State bursting ahead to the 31. Bobcats take over right there, and Kelly Stauffer. Interesting to see what Jake Spavital tries to dial up here with his quarterback Tyler Vitt. He's had a great night, but a slow start here so far in the second half.
Yeah, and I think you have to get back to what you did in the first half. And what Texas State executed so well was that run-pass option game. And typically a zone run coupled with a slant to these receivers that just seem locked and loaded and ready to make big plays.
Sturgis in the backfield on first down. Some confusion initially. Tyler Vitt off the left side for a gain of 2.
I think the confusion was intended. I think it's a quarterback power. So what you have is an offensive lineman pulling from the right to the left, and then it's that confusing, somewhat awkward fake pitch, and then the quarterback Vitt goes back and tries to get behind that pulling offensive lineman, but it didn't look that good on that play.
Deontay Roberts with the tackle. Second down and 8. Warhawks in search of a stop. Texas State trying to get back to its scoring ways. And that explosive first half. Dump off, Sheree. Nowhere to run. Lasso down for a loss. Holly with the TFLs. We go back 2 plays, Kelly.
Well, we talked about it being a quarterback power, so it's a designed run. It's off a fake pitch, and then you're going to get a puller right here that's going to lead Vitt around to the left side. So the fake pitch to try to create an angle, and then you have puller number 71, Heitmeyer, along with Baker, 74, but it just didn't work that well.
Vitt on the design quarterback keeper. Third down and long. Tyler Vitt to the rescue. Another first down for the Bobcats. Boy, a punishing finish on the end of that scamper. Finally stopped at the 44-yard line. Corey Strouder with the tackle, but not before the drive stays alive.
And a quarterback draw once again. A designed quarterback run. I think Tyler Vitt's run ability was undersold to us coming into this game. We didn't see a ton of that. But it's not really a quickness or a speed thing. It's an effective thing. It's a productive run when the quarterback Vitt runs it.
Picks up 16 yards there, now with 62 on the ground so far tonight. Retreats under pressure. And fires a dangerous toss out of bounds.
One of the biggest things to learn as a quarterback is when to give up. Quarterbacks by nature are competitive, and you think every play is a touchdown. And the first thing that you have to learn is sometimes the defense wins or my offense doesn't execute that well, and you have to throw the ball away and live to play again.
Roberts applying the pressure in that last sequence. Sturgis is going to be stopped at the line before a last-second plunge. We'll make it 3rd and 8.
You know, how many times, Roy, tonight have have we seen Texas State behind the chains. They've been so effective because they haven't been here very often. You know, they've typically stayed on schedule, but 3rd and 8 is a time for Tyler Vitt to make a good decision.
Milo Sweeney, the last tackle. Warhawks want to stop here. Approaching 6 to play in the 3rd quarter. Pocket for Vitt. Incomplete. Contact. No whistle. And that's going to force a punt. As Marcel Barbie was the intended target. A little jawing after the fact with Josh Newton.
And yet another flex by Barbie. If you continue to finish on the ball in the end zone like Barbie has, I guess you can get away with that. That was a poor route, however. It was cover 1 free, safety in the middle of the field. Barbie had man-to-man on him, as did 3 other receivers, and Barbie was running a deep comeback or hook route inside, and he just got outmatched that time by the coverage.
3rd punt, Seamus O'Kelly. And the Aussie sends it end over end to Perry Carter, retreats back to the 12. And a chance for the Warhawks to make this a 1-score affair, 31-17. 5:54 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Two MLB series finales for you tomorrow on ESPN. Giants and A's up first at 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific. Then in our Sunday night game, the Twins take on the NL Central leading Cubs, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the ESPN app. Now the Warhawks executing one of the great wins in college football history. We take you all the way back November 17, 2007. Knocking off the Crimson Tide in head coach Nick Saban's first season. 21-14 was the final, and a big play to start the next drive as Perry Carter rumbles for 17 yards and another Warhawk first down. Kelly Stoffer, Roy Philpott, and don't go anywhere just yet. This game's starting to get interesting.
Yeah, well thrown right here by Suits on the slant, and once again the run pass option. We've seen it from both teams. It's really a staple in college football, but you put one defender in conflict as he steps up and defends the run, and you throw a route right behind where he came from.
Tackled by Devin Martinez. Here comes backside pressure, and Suits fortunate not to lose the football as the pocket collapsed quickly for a loss of 3. Nico Ezador.
Yeah, Suits gets up, limping a little bit, but this ball has to come out. And it's easier said than done, because when you're in the pocket, you have to know as a quarterback where my escape hatch is via throwing the ball, because you can't just throw it away past the line of scrimmage because you're not out of the box. So the time goes off, you have to get that ball out somewhere.
Sacked by Ezador. Gavin Graham. 2nd and long. Suits, back foot toss. Pass is caught. Fred has it. And head to the 41-yard line. That'll make it 3rd down and 2.
Fred matched up on the Dynamo Morris outside. Just a comeback route. The outside receiver breaks it off. Morris is quick to close, but the good timing on the throw wins out.
Clock winding down in our 3rd quarter in the Sun Belt opener for Texas State and ULM. Johnson straight ahead. Needed 2. Did he get there? I'm not sure. It's going to bring up 4th down. He was met with quick resistance by Gavin Graham.
And an uncharacteristic like Johnson run. Watch how quickly Johnson bounces it outside right there, because he just doesn't trust what he's seeing inside. He typically is seeing way too much color, and so he bounces it early. But ULM is apparently going to throw down the gauntlet right here at 4th and 1.
0 for 1 on 4th down tonight. From their own 42, Johnson churning the legs, and this one's going to come down to the spot. The initial look appears as if he may have it.
Well, he certainly didn't have it initially, but I think it was the Johnson push by the offensive lineman that may have actually got Johnson past the line to gain. Heavy set, 3 extra tight ends in the game, a dive play to a physical running back that was woefully blocked on the line of scrimmage.
He took on Nico Isidore, who has about 90 pounds on him, and somehow pushed the pile in his favor.
Well, he had his own version of the Bush push on that play because an offensive lineman just saddled up and pushed Johnson forward.
Johnson will get a breather as he checks out. Phillips in the backfield. Suits with all kinds of time. The dump off is there. The first down is there. ULM on the move after the grab by Perry Carter. Devin Martinez stopped him, but another big gain for ULM, and the offense in rhythm to start this second half.
In the speed by Carter coming on the crossing route, you'll see him right there. And it's a crossing route against the zone, which sometimes is not that easy. But the quarterback and receiver have to be on the same page to find a void in that zone, and Suits and Carter did on that play.
It's a gain of 17. Carter now with 6 catches for 62 yards. Suits across the middle, inside the 30. That's a gain of 11 and another first down. Reception number 7 for Carter.
We've seen a lot of Chandler Whitfield tonight, number 4, and this is the Carter drive from his slot position. Both of Whitfield and Carter are slot guys, and I think that's an indication of working the middle of the field a little bit more in this second half than they did in the first half.
Phillips probing the right side. He'll push the pile. 26 for a gain of 4. So 8 plays into this possession, and the Warhawks threatening to make this a one-score contest.
And you did call it that we're going to have a game, and so down 14 on a really good-looking rhythmic drive as we speak, but it's all about how you finish, and we'll see if ULM can finish well on this one.
Approaching a minute to play in the third. Kelly Stoffer, Roy Philpott here in Monroe, Louisiana. Fun Belt trying to live up to the nickname tonight. 2 teams ranked for the first time in league history. All night for Suits to throw. He'll have another first down. Right in the middle of the zone was Jonathan Hodo for a gain of 9 yards, and the chains move once again, Kelly.
And this easily could have been offensive pass interference. Josh Peterson, as a receiver, an eligible receiver, was downfield blocking from the get-go. Obviously did not understand what the play called for, and then the pass was thrown forward past the line of scrimmage. Very fortunate that that didn't end a penalty for ULM.
4 wide, Phillips in the backfield, he'll pass pro. Suits avoid the rush to the end zone and incomplete. Looking for his big tight end, Josh Peterson. Coverage was ample by Zion Childress, and Peterson still almost brought it in.
Well, and you said it, the big tight end, Josh Peterson, is 6'5", and so Suits needs to understand that I have to give my guy, Peterson, a chance to go up higher and get it. It was slightly underthrown back somewhat over the head of Childress, the true freshman outside. If that ball is up the elevator shaft a little bit more, I think Peterson had a really good chance to come down with it.
Johnson motions out. He'll get the swing pass. Makes one man miss, ushered out at the 16. 12 seconds remaining here in our third quarter. Zion Childress credited with another stop. He's been active tonight for Texas State. So 3rd down and 8 yards to go to start our fourth quarter. 31-17 our score, 15 minutes to go here in the Sun Belt Conference. Lid lifter for both sides, Texas State and ULM. We've got a good one here on the Bayou. Coming up tomorrow, the WNBA playoffs roll right along with the opening games of the semis. The Suns square off against the top-seeded Aces at 1 Eastern. Then over on ABC, the Lynx take on the Storm. Both games streaming live on the ESPN app as the WNBA is back in action. College football rankings tonight are brought to you by Chick-fil-A. Clemson steamrolled the Citadel. And you take a look at the two teams from the Sun Belt. Two teams ranked from the conference for the first time in league history, with Kelly Stoffer, Roy Philpott. The start of our fourth quarter, 3rd down and 8 for ULM. Backside pressure for Suits. He felt it. He got rid of the football, looking for Jonathan Hodo, and now 4th down coming up, and Suits got up slowly that time, Kelly.
And that is Texas State's MO down in the red zone. They're not a big man-to-man team out in the field, but you get deeper in the red zone, it turns to man-to-man. And that time, Johnson went out wide, empty backfield. It's the quintessential route or look formation that you want to attack the quarterback because there isn't any extra protection.
Tupou applied the pressure, 4th down. Warhawks going to go for it towards the end zone and incomplete. Malik Jackson, the intended receiver, he was spun around about 4 yards deep back there. And the Texas State defense, an enormous stand on back-to-back downs deep on their own end of the field.
And Jackson had an opportunity if this ball is thrown correctly by Suits. This was a corner route from an inside receiver, and you got to throw that to the pylon and let Jackson chase it down, and it was thrown inexplicably inside and short. But how about that call on 4th and 8?
Kick the field goal there, right? Yeah.
I think if it's 4th and shorter, you make the decision potentially to go for it, but 3 points right there looks really, really good on a 4th and 8 in particular.
And you connect on the field goal, gives you a chance for another field goal, touchdown and a 2-point conversion to tie it up.
And there didn't seem to be any hesitation on the part of Matt Viator right there, which surprises me to some extent. I think I kick a field goal if it's 4th and 1 or 2, maybe even 4th and 3, where a lot of good things can happen offensively. I maybe consider go for it. 4th and 8, I'm out.
Hill picked up 5 on 1st down. This time, Tyler Vitt finds a lane, picks up 8. And that'll move the chains for Texas State.
We have Tyler Vitt rushing for currently.
9 carries, 70 yards, and a touchdown.
Nifty. I call his running nifty. He's not quick, he's not speedy, but he's nifty, and he's certainly not 205 pounds either, because he knows how to finish runs from his quarterback position.
You saw Jake Spavital, and he told us this week we've got to do all the little things better to be able to close teams out. We had a chance against SMU, then against UTSA. It didn't happen. And Tyler Vitt has been part of the solution tonight.
Yeah.
With the rush yards. And how about 12 of 17 through the air for 229?
Efficient all the way around. His runs have been efficient. So 2nd and 10, you just want to get back to 3rd and manageable. You don't have to be Superman right here from the quarterback position.
No gain on the last play by Hill. Plenty of time for Vitt. He's going to take off again. And off the pump fake, spun down hard and awkwardly.
Yeah, he is hurt. I think he planted awkwardly on that foot, and it looked like it almost kind of got caught in the carpet. That could have been a disaster. You've seen looks like that out of players out in the open that try to plant suddenly, and something doesn't stop that should have. And I feared that that was Tyler Vitt right here. Oh, that just did not look good. That's cringeworthy right there.
Webster was crashing down, but it was Ty Shelby who got the sack. It's 3rd and 11. 5-man front for the Warhawks. And Jake Spavital going to try to change this play up at the line of scrimmage. Vitt absorbs another hit. That pass incomplete. Newton in coverage. And a late flag on the field back at the 45. Let's check the penalty. There may have been contact.
Yeah, Newton was matched up on Haydell outside. It was a man-to-man coverage, a safety in the middle of the field, and Haydell came back for the ball.
Defense, number 20, Automatic first down at the spot of the foul.
Haydel was coming back for the ball on a curl route, and Newton just impeded the receiver's progress to the ball, which by definition is pass interference. You get a little pressure up inside. Vitt does a good job of stepping up in the face of that pressure, throwing the right ball outside, and Haydel got held by Newton.
No catches so far in the second half for Jeremiah Haydel. Perhaps that's going to change. The pass was underthrown. Looking for Haydel far side, and that should have been 6. Had a step on the cornerback, and Haydel's going to tap out for a moment.
Yeah, Tyler Vitt just didn't get anything on that ball, and I'm wondering if that leg is bothering him. He's limping a little bit, and he just didn't step up and throw that ball from over the top.
Inside give for a 3-yard gain. Another critical third down coming up. Deontay Roberts, another tackle for ULM.
Roy, I really believe if I'm Jake Spavital, I need to know the condition of my quarterback right now. I don't think that leg is right yet. Underthrown ball when you have to really press on that leg and rip it forward didn't happen, and then he was a little bit gimpy in the huddle right there.
Pressure. 7-man front, and the pass sails out of bounds. So the Warhawks dial up some pressure on third down, and they're going to get the football back.
See, Vitt is limping a little bit. He wasn't right after that play where he tried to get out to the left, and it was an awkward plant by his left foot, slipped a little bit, hyperextended the leg to some extent, and I guarantee you he's not right currently.
So that's another developing story here in Monroe. Carter plowed backwards at the 24. Warhawks will have it there, and again, you go back to that field goal decision, or lack thereof, on their last possession. Lead is 14 here in our fourth quarter. Vegas, Monday Night Football. For the first time, the Saints and the Raiders, a pair of undefeated teams, week 2 of the NFL season. And don't forget about mega-cast coverage on ESPN2 with Reese Davis and Kirk Herbstreit. We got you locked, loaded, ready to go. ESPN ABC, ESPN Deportes for Monday Night Football. Kelly Stoffer, Roy Philpott here in the Sun Belt. Prime time on a Saturday night, presented by Dr. Pepper, ULM. Suits tried to spot Peterson. Check that was Lamb. He's been targeted for the second time tonight. Been waiting for Josh Peterson to try to get going. He's only been targeted 3 times for the first-team All-Sun Belt performer. Yeah,
it's really hard to explain because defensively Texas State really isn't doing a lot to take him away specifically. And it was the one route into the flat. He's been targeted 2 other times other than that. And he's really an X factor that has been used big time in the past.
Devin Martinez with a PBU on that last play. Suits underneath Whitfield. I'll bring up 3rd and 7. Gavin Graham with the tackle. 4 versus 4.
And 3rd and 7, you need more of the same. It's either Whitfield or Carter, those guys in the slot position where they have two-way goes working. You can work into the middle of the field from your slot position, or you can break out. And Whitfield is in the slot down below right now.
Warhawks need 7 yards. Stay on the field, trailing by 2 touchdowns. Press man coverage on the outside. And across the middle, incomplete. And Whitfield had all kinds of real estate in front of him.
And that's the beauty of the two-way go. Setting in the slot position, you can go in or you can go out. In this case, Whitfield went in. And if he catches that ball, he's off to the races, and Suits just simply airmailed it. We talked about the little things to be consistent offensively. It's stuff like that. You have open receivers, ball placement, all of those type of things is the difference between points and rhythm and then punting the football.
Porter back on the field to punt this one away. for the 5th time. Haydel waves for the fair catch. Bobcats have it at their own 31. When we come back, Texas State, a 2-touchdown lead here on the road.
ESPN College Football is presented by Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville.
Beautiful night for college football back inside Malone Stadium here in the Sun Belt. As we take a look at the games of the year. Raging Cajun's going to be all over the place, as you would expect. But that one in the middle, October 7th. Kelly, mark your calendar. Kid Brewer Stadium, The Rock, App State, in Louisiana. That's going to be one for the ages, I have to believe, here in this league.
One for the ages.
One for the ages.
I'm with you. You're Mr. Hype Man, but I'm with you.
Texas State with possession. And the give to Sturgis straight ahead, and that's 2 yards.
And this is 6-minute offense, even though there's 10 minutes, but it's 6-minute offense time. You want to run the clock. You want to possess it. You want to make good decisions. You want to keep the ball away from the other guys for as long as you can, knowing that you're up 2 scores.
I agree. You got 3 timeouts to work with. Still plenty of time if you're a fan of the Warhawks. Let's see what Texas State can do right here. Under 10 to go. Methodical approach on this drive. A gain of 1, and that's it. We'll bring up 3rd down and long.
Derek Ray, number 93, defensive end, crushes that zone run. And behind the sticks is a good way for a defense to get off the field. You know, this is where play caller Jake Spavital needs to trust his quarterback. And Tyler Vitt has made really good decisions. We were talking about it at the break. I can think of one time he actually threw into coverage that was a mistake, but this is his 14th start. He's earned the right to be here, and now you have to trust the ball with Vitt in this situation.
Marcel Barbie top of the screen, and Jake Spavital rushes onto the field to call a timeout. Bobcats with 2 timeouts remaining, and play caller will want to talk things over with Tyler Vitt.
And so what Jake Spavital is telling Tyler Vitt is, this is the situation. We're up by 2 scores. There's under 9 minutes left. We're 3rd and behind the sticks. Don't be a hero. Execute the game plan. I mean, it may be a run. It may be another Tyler Vitt quarterback drop because he's been the best rusher on the board tonight. Something that doesn't take a lot of complexity, but nonetheless, Tyler Vitt needs to make a good decision.
Talking with Coach Spavital this week, and he started just reeling off names of quarterbacks that he's coached that went on to the NFL, and it's a pretty impressive list.
Yeah, no kidding. Impressive, much more in college, but they certainly, those guys had opportunities and still do in the NFL. But yeah, how would you like to give those guys the keys to the car every week?
On 3rd down, the pump fake. And the deep throw is going to be reeled in by Shareed. Working deep down the field. Jamarie Shareed, another circus-type catch.
And you see the X release. The outside receiver passes inside, and Shareed goes outside. And that's actually an easy throw to make and not a lot of risk in it. If you trust Vitt, your quarterback, to not underthrow it, throw it to the wrong guys, and Vitt did just that.
You saw the reaction from Tyler Glass, the safety. Couldn't believe it as Haydel steps out of bounds. And they're going to mark his forward progress ahead to the 37-yard line.
And that was the design. You talked about Tyler Glass. He's a safety, and he's matched up on Shareed inside. So what you do is you swap receivers on the go and put Shareed outside now on a vertical on a safety, and the receiver wins. That's well designed by Jake Spavital.
More time ticking off the clock. 6 receptions for Jeremiah Haydel tonight. $156 and 2 touchdowns. approaching the halfway point of our fourth quarter. Vitt wants to take off. That play was whistled dead quickly. Get a timeout call?
I don't believe so, but that was an extremely fast whistle. Did not catch that.
I was hoping you did because I didn't either.
I was hoping the mask was down and you could read lips, but the mask was down, but we read nothing. Not sure what happened there. We I think, have some type of a review situation, as you can see on the screen, on the play before.
If you go back to the last play, Haydell, I thought, stepped out of bounds. That's the play they just whistled dead quickly. I think it was the one before that.
I think the one before that is under review. It was the catch of Shareed outside matched up on the X-release vertical, right?
It was Haydell after that, and if you remember, he tiptoed down the sideline. I thought his left foot went out of bounds.
Yes, I'm with you now.
I thought it went out of bounds.
Here you go.
Right around the 40.
Yeah, it's just a matter of right there where the ball is going to be spotted at the 41-yard line.
After review, runner stepped out of bounds at the 41-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 3 at the 41-yard line.
And that was, in fact, the call, so a good catch by John Allman. His veteran Sun Belt officiating crew. Wayne Winkler is our referee tonight. They got it right.
And that's what the replay is for. Execute the replay procedure correctly, and sometimes it takes a little bit too long for most of us, but in the end, it's about getting it right.
So instead of 1st and 10, it'll be 2nd and 3 from the 41 for Texas State. The Bobcats looking for their first victory of the season. A couple of close losses so far, one to SMU, the other to UTSA in double overtime.
Jake Spavital made no bones about the fact that they should be 2-0, and they beat themselves in many cases, not doing the little things right and not being as physical as they need to be on the line of scrimmage. Those things haven't showed up here this evening.
It's interesting because the roster has been turned over and literally is so new. You're talking about 54 new faces this year, going back to a season ago or 18 months in the past. So you got guys trying to figure things out, trying to build their brand. Not easy to come together, especially in close games to start a weird season.
I think that's a great point, because when you turn the roster over as suddenly as Jake Spavital is trying to do, it's about then finding chemistry, even though you've upgraded talent. And chemistry would have made a big difference in those first 2 weeks.
Vitt on 3rd and short has the first down and a lot more. Like he lost possession of the ball for a second and quickly corralled it down to the 26-yard line.
And the quarterback power read, or actually power run, once again, there is no read in it. And we talked about that awkward play, the plant of the left foot by Tyler Vitt earlier, and it could have been catastrophic. And not only is he back, he's still that nifty runner with the football again. 11 carries for 82 yards. Who saw that coming?
Last one went for 13. Bobcats trying to move to 1-0 in the Sun Belt. As Hill picks up 4.
Remember, Roy, this drive started with over 10 minutes, and the success of it is the objective is time spent first, and then flip the field if you can in the process. And Texas State has been really successful at doing both of those things.
Mason Hussman, the last tackle. The sense of urgency for the Bobcats offense on display. No hurry whatsoever for Jake Spavital. There goes Hill towards the end zone for another Texas State touchdown. Second of the game for 22 and white. And the Bobcats strengthen their lead on the road. So number 22 from 22 out, Kelly, awfully impressive.
Yeah, and the power to the right, relocating 2 offensive linemen left to right, and then the 5-7 back gets behind those big pulling linemen and gets lost to some extent.
Flag on the field. This one's coming back, I believe, due to a holding call.
I thought the flag was extracurricular after the touchdown, but apparently not. The hearing the whistle is still a problem in college football. We don't hear it that well, and then when we have communication problems with the officials, sometimes it's hard to interpret exactly what's taking place.
After all of that, take the touchdown off the board. Hill gets another carry on 2nd and 16. New life for ULM, as Keyshawn Johnson has something to say after that stop.
Well, I was about to go into the fact that the ultimate closing drive is when you kill time, you flip the field, and you score. And they've still accomplished 2 out of those 3, but the touchdown was taken off the board. Nonetheless, Texas State is still not in a hurry.
Bobcats have yet to score in this second half. ULM only adding a field goal thus far, final 2 quarters. 3rd and long, conservative call, nowhere to run. Hill sent backwards. Pushing through was Kevin Pointer, the TFL.
And Pointer is a thumper from the defensive tackle position. And the problem with the defensive line tonight hasn't necessarily been stopping the running backs. It's been stopping Tyler Vitt in that run game. When you add an extra hat offensively in the run game by being willing to run your quarterback, the defense has to make a decision. And the defensive line in particular has to be better, and ULM hasn't been consistently that tonight.
Seamus O'Kelly. You see the lack of trust in the Texas State field goal kicking unit. Struggles a week ago by Alan Arona. Jacob Bates has been on point so far tonight. Timeout called by Jake Spavital, and perhaps after the penalty, of course, he'll continue to punt it.
Yeah, the Aussie punter O'Kelly, I thought that he was going to be from Dublin or something, but Melbourne, Australia is the Aussie kicker. That actually this should be the Aussie kicker's wheelhouse right here by backing up a pitching wedge into the goal line right now.
Get him to spin it backwards even?
Absolutely.
We have the U.S. Open going on. And a nice job here. It'll be down at the 3. 4:29 to go. ULM trying to creep its way back in it. A lot of work to do here at home against Texas State. Fun with so far in the Sun Belt, and another big night for Texas State wide receiver Jeremiah Haydell.
Yeah, Haydell is the contested catch guy, along with his teammate Barbie, and then it's Whitfield that kind of took the cap off the goal to begin with. For ULM, there's just been few and far between, and then it's Haydell once again.
31-17 our score, time pursuits, and after the backside pressure, errant toss out of bounds. Bring up 2nd down and 10, so the Warhawks with an opportunity, but backed up to their own 3-yard line, Kelly. A lot of options.
And just consider this ULM offense. It's the first time that Matt Viator, as the head coach and now play caller, has been without Caleb Evans. And you can see that. Right now, this offense really doesn't have an identity.
They want it to be number 8 in maroon and gold, Josh Johnson, but really hasn't had very much open real estate tonight. 17 carries, right at 50 yards after that last touch.
Yeah, and so it's really a perfect storm for Matt Viator. It's losing Caleb Evans, who had over 9,000 yards and 90-some touchdowns pass and run in his career, and essentially didn't miss a snap in a game.
On the out route by Peterson, it's broken up at the last second, and the Bobcats force a 3-and-out. Devin Martinez Batted that one down to the turf.
So Caleb Evans doesn't miss a rep in practice or in games, and so when it's Colby Sweet's time to shine, and he really hadn't played significantly since high school, you can see the lack of rhythm. You see it in there somewhere out of this team offensively, but it's few and far between.
Got to go for it on 4th and 6, trailing by 2 touchdowns. This time, plenty of time for Suits across the middle. The crosser is brought in for a first down. Perry Carter.
Remember, Roy, in this ball game up to that pass, Perry Carter has had this opportunity before, but his ball placement out in front and on that crossing route, Perry can get out the backside. It's all about doing the little things right, and the ball placement by Suits right there was exactly right.
Spears brought him down, but not before Perry Carter picked up 25. Peterson's second grab of the night stopped at the 35. That's a gain of 3. Warhawks with 3 timeouts remaining, but precious time ticking away.
And so you're minus Caleb Evans, we talked about, but you're also minus 4 starting offensive linemen that anchored a very prolific run game, with Caleb Evans being that X factor in the run game. And so minus 27 starts, and you see why this offense currently is inconsistent.
Suits have the first down. Another reception for Peterson. 3rd catch of the night. The preseason All-Sun Belt performer at tight end and son of head coach Doug Peterson, the Philadelphia Eagles.
And led tight ends in touchdown receptions a year ago. And just doesn't seem right, at least, I don't know about physically, but in terms of his insertion into the game plan, it just has been few and far between.
In the slot here. Suit surveys. And the dump off to Isaiah Phillips. Into Texas State territory. The drive continues. Another first down.
And Texas State playing rush 3, drop 8, a lot of clutter, and Isaiah Phillips makes the first guy miss. But again, there hasn't been a lot of that either.
It's a gain of 15. Now at the 41. Warhawks with tempo. The out route is there. So is the first down. Jonathan Hodo. And all of this happening while ULM preserves its 3 timeouts, Kelly.
Yeah, in a 2-score game. And I think right now, Texas State defensively is a little bit too far off and a little bit too soft, and making it, therefore, a little bit too easy for ULM. You at least got to press a little bit to force ULM to use some of those timeouts.
So Hodo scampers out of bounds after a gain of 17. The clock stops. Suits pressured by a couple of extra moments and throws that one wisely into the turf. Zion Childress, the only player in the area, and he plays for Texas State.
Texas State defensively still electing to go with a 3-man rush, dropping 8 into coverage. And so you have 3 deep and 5 underneath, and there just isn't a lot of room to find an open guy.
Suits 5 of 7 on this drive.
Philly, it could get a little exciting if ULM could get this into the end zone with 3 timeouts left.
Well, we know this. Nothing has come easy this season for Texas State. There's drama always at the end. See if that changes. Suits. End zone. Should have been intercepted. Back there was Kevin Anderson. Went right through the wickets, it looked like.
It did. And one of those high safeties that we talked about, 3 deep. Anderson is in the middle and running a skinny post behind Anderson, and Anderson just couldn't finish the play.
Well, 4 down territory here, obviously. 94 seconds remaining. Warhawks have those 3 timeouts.
You have to work zones coming back to the quarterback. That's what you have to do. You can't be throwing vertical routes down seams when you have 3 deep. You have to work seams coming back to the quarterback to just get a first down. 3rd and 10.
Suits gonna be brought down, and the ball pops out Samuel Williams fell down on it, maintained possession for the Warhawks. Now a timeout called by ULM.
And Vincent just comes off the short edge and just is unblocked essentially and throws the quarterback to the ground.
Pausing the action as we step aside here in Monroe, Louisiana. Tonight's best moment brought to you by AT&T 5G, and if you don't know, now you do. Jeremiah Haydell is a superstar in the Sun Belt this season, Kelly.
Yeah, the art of the contested catch is alive and well at Texas State, and Jeremiah Haydell, the body control that he has to go up and make a play on a ball like that.
4th and 17 to keep this one alive for ULM in their home opener. Suits across the middle. Peterson has it. Needed to cross the 14-yard line, and he did so by 2 yards.
That's been there multiple times tonight, and then you have to kill it to conserve or to keep your timeout. And Texas State elects to call the timeout instead, and that's the exact type of play that Peterson could have been running all night. Man-to-man coverage on him, middle of the field open. You bend your hybrid tight end in there.
Suits just fired a rocket right into old number 86, Mr. Reliable.
And this is a great catch. The ball almost goes through, but he double catches it and comes down with it. That certainly is a catch. But where was this all night? It wasn't like Texas State was taking number 86, Josh Peterson, away coverage-wise. So my question is, as a play caller, why aren't we going to the well more often? You're my play caller. You're supposed to answer that question.
My answer is I have no idea, because it seems like he's been open at times. Maybe Suits just hasn't found him. And that last replay obviously confirmed, as Peterson did a great job. Kind of the double catch, as you mentioned, calls confirmed.
And so many times I've watched Josh Peterson run to the flat, which is what he's supposed to do on whatever the design is. But what I haven't seen of him is in a bunch set or a trip set one way, and he's the middle receiver, and bend him to the middle of the field. He has a great football IQ. It's in his DNA. He has a great feel for the game, and I don't think he's been used nearly enough.
11 career touchdowns before tonight. Has not been a factor in the red zone just yet. Approaching a minute to play. This time there's Peterson, and this time it's going to be intercepted. Picked off, and that's going to do it. Running the other way with a clear path to the end zone, numero 0, Jaron Morris for the pick 6. An emphatic ending for a Texas State road victory. And there is a flag back at the 32.
Typically, this is an illegal block on the return. You would think that the interception by Morris will stand.
Personal foul, illegal blindside block, number 74 on the original offense. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
So 99 yards to pay dirt for Jaron Morris, the junior from Orange, Texas. And put 6 more on the board for the Bobcats from San Marcos.
Well, I talked about Peterson going to the flat so often. This is a flat and up that does not work against zone coverage. And so you hope it's a gotcha play by your offense, but Suits needs to understand that when it's a zone and it's a soft coverage, that play's not going to work. Even though it's the first look, it's not your only look. You simply have to throw that ball away.
Zach Spavital told us this week he is our best player in coverage. He's not the biggest, he's not the most physical, but his instincts are off the charts. 38-17, less than a minute to go, and the first win of the season just about in the books for second-year head coach Jake Spavital. His brother calling the plays defensively. Solid outing on that side of the ball for Texas State, and I don't know if we've talked about that enough. Big Uglies up front got it done. Kimmer Daniels, Nico Ezador, And the first road win in quite some period of time, going back to November 2 years ago, Kelly.
Yeah, and Roy, you hit on this earlier. The chemistry that you're seeing out of this Texas State team tonight is Jake Spavital really tries to transform the roster. He only had 9 scholarships in year 1. In year 2, he has 54 new faces. The goal is 75 to really transform the roster like you would want. And then it's about chemistry. The upgrade in talent and speed is evident, but now it's coming together, and you saw it tonight, and that chemistry made a big difference in the first 2 weeks where this team actually could have won both of them.
Love what he told us this week, too. We just got to go out there and play. Yeah, we've got a bunch of new faces. You mentioned the chemistry. It's a new team trying to build a new culture. He said we always seem to make it interesting. They almost did tonight, but he said we need to play anybody, anywhere. And I like that mantra. And guess what? Next week, on the road, Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts, against a team that was very impressive earlier today, Boston College. Big win at Duke. And the Eagles are going to present a whole realm of new challenges with their physicality at the line of scrimmage, really on both sides of the ball, Kelly.
And that's it, the physicality. And Jake Spavital told us that his offensive line needed to be more physical tonight, and they were. That will be a massive test against Boston College defensive front next week.
Jeff Hafley doing a great job. Year number 1 after coming over from Ohio State for BC. No doubt they're watching tonight with interest. Get ready for some fireworks from the Bobcats on the road again. This offense starting to click at a little bit of a different level. On the screen pass, Malik Jackson.
And how about the offense under Tyler Vick as a rusher, 11 rushes for 82 yards. And this offense was supposed to be made for Brady McBride, who's been out the last 2 weeks. And really when he's back and available, what happens now? Because he was handpicked by the head coach to run this offense.
Bobcats are going to improve to 1-2. A couple of plays away from being undefeated, perhaps. ULM will fall to 0-2 after losing at Army last week. And the Warhawks back in action a week from now to try to get their first win of the season. 38-17 our final score, and I tell you what, we're just happy that football is back.
Amen, brother.
We're
Amen.
here to call it. Our great crew is here to help us through it. Fantastic job for our producer tonight, David Lewis, getting the job done, and our hard-working crew back in the truck. We appreciate each and every one of you. And Kelly, away we go into the great unknown that is 2020.
Oh, no kidding. And we're just happy to be playing ball, but the great unknown, no doubt about it. What it takes to actually have a game to watch and the kids to play is unbelievable. So we're happy to be here.
Bobcats a big win, their first of the season. 38-17 our final score. Good night from Monroe, Louisiana.